All right, 10 acres on the Niangua River. The truck is parked by the building site or camping site or whatever you want to call it near the river. It's well off of the easement road. As we look back, the other truck is actually parked off the easement road as well. And that driveway off to the right leads back to the secondary easement road, which crosses over that west side of the property. So the guys were out there working while we were doing this drone video. They basically just cleared some of the brush and limbs and whatnot in this site. The stumps you see are old. That's from the logging within the last 1 or 2 years. Look at that amazing tree straight in front at the edge of the water. That's actually two separate trees. There's a big hardwood tree, and then behind it there's another hardwood tree, and that's where apparently decades ago that branch twisted over and 3 other trees grew up, and it left what is basically a really pretty seat, like a bench, right at the water's edge. It's really unique. I'm not trying to get hung up on that one tree on this property, but I noticed it right away, and the guys were excited about it, and they actually said while they were working out there, they were only out there for a few hours, 2 separate people in a canoe and in a raft commented on that tree as they floated by the property. So pretty cool. Now that's the Barclay Conservation Area. That's directly across the river from the property. We're looking southerly over the Barclay. That's all Barclay on the right and some on the left. And then as we look back, there you can see the red truck. And then looking a little bit off to the right as you follow going up the screen, that's the property up to Marigold Drive. And we'll do a complete flyover, but right now we're actually over the conservation area, looking toward the property. The road you see on the left is the easement road that goes up the hill and to Marigold Drive. I don't know if we'll see that in the flyover too much, but you can check out the listing and the interactive map, all that good stuff to see exactly how this is situated. It's actually got over 300 feet of direct river frontage. That's an amazing amount of river frontage. If you're not a property person, that might not sound like a lot, or maybe it does, I don't know, but it's an insanely large amount of river frontage. On the left side of the screen, there's a little trail that goes down to the water that the guys worked on. Also on the right side, where the 2 guys are working, the right side of the open area, I think they were doing another walking trail that actually went right down to the water's edge. And then the middle of that site basically overlooks the water, several feet above the water, maybe even 10 feet above, I'm not sure. But you can pull right in with a truck or an SUV. Behind the site, you can see that easement road that crosses over the property. I guess that would be called a secondary easement road. So when you build or camp or whatnot, you've got to be 50 feet off that secondary easement road. The primary easement roads, you've got to be 100 feet off that. But actually, I think it's just that secondary easement road and then the road easement up by Marigold that crosses over this property. Let us know if you have any questions. We've got all the answers here. You can see the guys working away there. It's going to be a beautiful site. I mean, it already is beautiful, but for someone to come in and maybe shape it or manicure it or whatever you want to do there, talk about gorgeous, right on the river. You're going to have, like any river property, you're going to have some type of flood zone. Look at the maps to see how that is situated. I mean, the truck itself may very well be in the flood zone. I'm not sure about that. The MapRight app kind of has a layer for flood zone, and you can check that out. So it might be a little iffy. I know it's just the westernmost part of the property that shows to be in a flood zone, so use your own judgment on that. But certainly if you're going to go back a little bit, you'd be out of that mapped flood zone. So that's actually me sitting on the bench tree. I couldn't resist. It's really cool, really cool. So backing up to get another look at the frontage. I mean, you're only seeing a small bit of the frontage. This has 349 feet of river frontage, which is more than a football field. Looking downriver, property on the right. The frontage, if you look at that bluff off in the distance, kind of a bluff, it's just dirt. The property goes almost to that. So yeah, that's a ton of river frontage, and then goes all the way back up to the east, up to Marigold Drive. So now we're going to rise up and we're going to see this baby from the air. All the tracks at Riverside were logged within the last 1 to 2 years. Really nothing was clear-cut that we could find. In fact, the east side of the property looks like it probably hasn't been logged for decades for the most part. And then kind of in the middle part, they did a little more logging. Those tires you see on the far left, someone was going to build what's called an earth-shipped home. So it was going to be on a concrete foundation. The tires would be the structure of the wall, and then they would be covered so they wouldn't be exposed. I think that plan has since changed. So now we're looking northeasterly over the property toward the road. So toward the bottom of this, well, now it's not, but that's the secondary easement road there. You can see the red truck on the west side. What I call the secondary easement road above that crosses over the property. I guess we're going to get a little closer and then do our flyover. This is a fairly long drone video. It's not the longest we've done, but it's fairly lengthy, so that's good on this property. This was like a Thursday early afternoon when we took this video, and we saw a few people out on the river, not too many. Okay, so now we're looking northeasterly over the property toward Marigold. So the section we're flying over has quite a bit of timber. As we get a little further, right about now toward the bottom of the screen, you can see where it was timbered a little more heavily, although not clear cut, quite a few trees left. And then actually we should have been flying a little further over to the right. Those big trees you see on the right, those are on the property, so that part obviously just really wasn't logged much, if at all. We're probably over the kind of the northwest tip of the property. We should be further over to the right, quite honestly, because the highest spot out here, according to the topo map, appears to be right on the property. So the highest spot on that ridge is on the northeast side of the property. In fact, now that I see that pond, I know we're just a hair north of where we should be. But as we look north, that's Marigold. To the left, you can see the road easement that runs kind of adjacent to Marigold. Gives you access to the eastern side of the property without having to put in an approach or whatnot. You can see the listing for info on that. And now we're looking westerly. And now we're probably about centered on the property. You can see, if you look carefully, the highest part of that heavily wooded ridge is on the property. So there's Marigold Drive, the road easement just beyond that, private road easement just for property owners. And there you can get a little better look at some of the really good timber on the property. So yeah, I mean, this part just apparently was really not logged when they did that. I'm sure it has been at some point. Everything has, but there's some nice old trees there. Now we're back headed westerly, more over the stuff that was logged within the last 1 to 2 years. So I mean, that part could be cleaned up. It could be left. You could use it for firewood. Most people probably just focus on cleaning up a pretty building site and leaving the rest. In a few years, all those tops and stuff rot away, and the remaining medium trees grow very quickly without the competition from some of those commercial trees. So there's the site again on the west, obviously. Really cool property, my goodness. I mean, we didn't really even talk too much about the fact that this is a white ribbon trout fishing area. Very popular for floating, swimming, fishing. The river is actually generally much clearer than this, I would say. But it had rained a couple days before we did this video, and that tends to kind of stir things up a little bit if there's a heavy rain. Feel free to come check it out, or just check out the website. InstantAcres.com is where you need to go. And you can get all the info on any tract that's available. So if this property is still available, you'll see it on the website. Or give us a call in the office, or just shoot us an email at sales@instantacres.com. Or stop by if you're in the Springfield, Missouri area. We love to talk about property. But if nothing else, check out the website at InstantAcres.com.